Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of Kevysie Fate Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Davis. I am an author, comic creator, entrepreneur, and I have a lot of hats, as I've been told. But today's guest is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for a couple months now, Mr. Zhamir Watson. I hope I said that right.
No, you
Forgive me
said
if I
it
did.
right.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show, man. I've been watching you for a while. I've become a big fan of you, and it's like seeing your accomplishments. I know what you do. Please tell us, like the audience that's watching, well, what do you do and what and everything.
Well, kind of like you, Kevin. I wear many hats. Not wearing it right now, but I wear many
Uh,
hats. I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm a an author. I'm a comic book illustrator, motivational speaker, just all around, just global superstar. That's what I am. I do all of that because I feel like it's my purpose in life. With the physical fitness part, I was inspired to become a personal trainer through my own life experiences. I lost my grandmother, 33, 34 years ago from a massive heart attack.
oof.
Throughout the years, when I played sports, particularly middle school, high school, I changed my diet, pretty much all my ways to live a more healthier lifestyle to
Mhm.
prevent going down the same fate she did. Because back then, back in the early 90s, or really in the 80s too, when she got diagnosed with a lot of stuff, the information education just wasn't there for the everyday American like we do now. We have all the technology and information and research resources now to take care of a lot of stuff that could have saved her life back then. But
Mhm.
it is what it is. So I took her experiences and just learned from it. Like I said, I excelled at sports. When I got to college, I didn't play sports in college because I got a full time job, got an apartment,
Ah,
wanted to work. I didn't want to stay on campus. But even then, I still worked out, ate right, and it was in college where I adapted the whole thing about meal prep because it saved me a lot of time and money, and also helped me make better decisions when it came to food. And of course, throughout the years, my 30s, I thought about being a personal trainer, but I just never made the move because I was caught up doing other stuff and didn't think about it. And then 4 years ago, when I published my first book on health and fitness, which was dedicated to her,
mm,
it was in that moment I was like, you know what? I might need to pursue this as a profession because at the time, so many people were asking me, tips about food, exercises, and things like that. And I'm thinking, well, people are doing this. Maybe I should go into it. So anyway,
mm.
long story short,
Yeah.
2 years ago, I got the certification, and the rest is history. So every day I go to work, I love what I do. It brings me joy to help people eat better, become more active, and live longer through, exercise, science, and nutrition. Because I feel like it's one of my purposes in life because I am passionate about it. Uh, I live it every day. My body and my medical records are my resume, so I know exactly what I'm what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
and for me too, like with her, she died at 48. I'll be 40 next month. I want to be able to live much longer than she did by practicing what I preach. Then from a literary perspective, and now what I actually went to college for, getting a degree in mass communication and art, I wanted to use my craft as an aid to promote literacy. And what I mean by that is I was real big into the superhero culture and stuff like well, still is superhero culture and stuff like that. and,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's a way to reach people through interest, personal interest, and escapism, uh, to get people to read more because the literacy rate in America and pretty much all over the world is not as high as it could be, and I feel like
Mm.
that's my contribution to the world is trying to get people to read more with things that interest them to help them with real life things such as reading contracts, buy a house. These are all things that you need to know through critical thinking, comprehension, and vocabulary to know what you're dealing with.
Man, heck yeah. That's kind of like how I kind of started writing because I want to get like people reading too, especially kids nowadays. Growing up, I read like novels and like different types of novels because my mother always had me and my sister read because she didn't want us to be idiots, basically. I hated writing with a passion. I'm a writer now. And my mother said once told me, said, the thing you hate the most, you're actually really good at. I hated writing the most. And that's when I started finding out my gift in writing was like my ninth grade year of high school. In like my African American history class, my first paper, and my teacher had like leveled us from like a 1 to a 5, whereas like a 1 you need a lot of help. A 3 is like you're there, but I want to push you to that professional 5 level.
Right.
And so my very first paper, I get it back. I was a level 3, and my teacher said, "You have a gift in writing. Like I love your writing, and I just want to get you to that college level and professional level of writing." And I looked at him, I was like, "Me? Are you sure?" I was like, "Me? I freaking hate writing." And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, you have the passion for it." And because I was a nonchalant kid, but
Right.
then like the bell started ringing in my head, and then I kind of just started, "Do I really have this gift? What is God showing me right now?" And then turns out my mom is also a writer, so she let me read her novel before she even publishes it, and that's how I fell in love. I was like, "Okay, can I try this?" And so she gave me pointers about writing and everything, and it's like, I want to try this. And so I wrote my first book around 2020, I believe, like about my life, and I published it around 2020. But I took it down in 2023. When I look back at it, I'm just like, nah, I can write that better now. I didn't have enough experience yet to actually tell my story, and I wasn't fully confident back then.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people because I know I was kind of the same way when I published my first book. You always
Hmm.
had that fear of your attention's always good, and whatever it is you write about, you want to use it as a tool to help people in some type of
Hmm.
way or entertain,
Exactly.
whatever the case may be. But at the same time, you're thinking like, oh my God, it's gonna be well received. Are they gonna like it? Are they gonna hate it? And we live in a society
Exactly.
now where when people love it, they love it, but when they hate it, and they will let you know. So
Right. Oh my
it
God. Jesus.
it can be inspiring and scary at the same time. But like I tell people all the time, I just went on and did it because I felt like what, if I put this out there, they don't like it. It is what it is. I can take the experience and learn from it, which I did. Take it and learn from it and do better the next time. Because when I came out with the first book, and here's one thing I want to touch on too. I want to make this very clear to not only your audience, but to people who I know is listening, who know me personally,
Mhm,
or people who've been asking me questions about publishing books. So here's the thing: the some of the big misunderstandings people don't understand about the publishing industry or just literacy in general.
mhm.
So the first three books actually I published were on Amazon. Well, still is. The first one is kind of sold out. When I
Yeah.
first came out with it, it was really, to me, honestly, I know it's bad to say, it was kind of an experiment to kind of see,
Mhm,
where I fit in and how I'll be able to go after something like that.
mhm.
The first one, obviously, Amazon, people think, oh, my book on Amazon, I'm about to hit it big. I'm about to be a millionaire, da, 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 all that stuff. Even though that wasn't what
Yeah.
my goal was.
Yeah.
I mean, I did want to, pursue it professionally. But what people don't understand about publishing books on platforms like Amazon is that it does not guarantee instant fame or fortune. I mean, because you have to understand nobody knows who you are, especially when it's your first book.
Mhm,
And whether you're a beginner, somewhere in between, a professional author, no matter what you do,
mhm.
marketing is still the number one
That part.
aspect
That
in
part.
a book. If nobody knows who you are, they're not going to purchase your book. I don't care how big Amazon is. Amazon, because do you realize how many people publish books on Amazon? Somebody had reached out to me probably like a couple months ago and was like, "Hey, Zamir, I'm trying to see what did you do to get your books to sell?" And because like my books now sell in Barnes and Noble, but I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So they was like, I'm not understanding how. What did you do that I'm not doing? Because I can't get nobody, to buy nothing on my. So I was like, what did you do? Well, I put it on Amazon. I was like, okay. So again,
That's
what did
it?
you do? Like, I mean, did you promote it? Did you get a
That part.
company
I'm
to?
like, what did you do?
It was like, well, no, I'm not big in speaking. I said, okay. Well, let me help you understand real
Uh,
quick.
well,
So I said, not to be rude. I said, but first of all, nobody knows who you are.
exactly.
Two, you have to have some type of marketing strategy or a team of people that can help you promote this book. And here's the thing too about the whole Amazon thing too. It kind of goes back to what, like they say, in order to make money, you have to spend money. Which means if you're really put, uh, putting your book out there seriously, you're going to have to hire an agent, all the social media content for you. You have to
Yeah.
hire that if you need it. And I mean, and depending on how big your book gets or how big you want it to get, you have to put in a team in place to do it. Well, this person was like, well, I don't really want to spend money on that. I feel that's a waste of time. I was like, well, here's the thing that you're saying is a waste of time could actually be beneficial. An
Exactly.
agent
Yeah.
can get you into spaces that you can't get in on your own because they have the resources, they have the connections, they have the information, education to get the book seen to whoever it is you're trying to get it seen by. You're not any of these people who have a name. Like, yes, if Stephen King was put on Amazon, hell yes, don't sell out because hell, that's Stephen King. Like everybody know who he is. The man has
Exactly.
sold millions of books. He's had film adaptations, television adaptations. Like he's a name. Like everybody knows who he is. And even authors who don't have necessarily film adaptations of their books, they're still a name in the industry. People know who they are. They they
Mhm.
they sell books in Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, all these big chain bookstores. They know who they are.
That
You
part.
putting your book on Amazon, whether it's a children's book or a self help book or a fictional novel, if they
Mhm.
don't know your name, they're not going to go in there and be like, okay, well, let me go type in Leroy and see if I can find. I mean, there's millions of people with your name on there who can be on there selling books.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's what I try to explain to people the realistic part because I think people see or saw what I did and thought, well, if he's doing that, shoot, I can do it too. And you can, but what,
Right.
what the part
It's
you don't see is what goes into that. You don't see
yeah.
how I had to spend money on an agent, spend money on ads, spend money on a team of people to get me in spaces that I could not get in on my own. That's the part you
That
don't
part.
see. And I don't always
Yeah.
post that. And I don't have to
Exactly.
because I feel like that's where part of doing your own research come when it comes to something that you actually want to do for the rest of your life. And
Yeah.
but I always try to keep it real with people when I give speeches about publishing because I think a lot of times people look at certain people's success and because they don't know, it could be misleading in a sense
Mhm.
where they're like, okay, well, Zamir made it seem like it was easy, and here it is. I'm trying to do the same thing, and it is not. That's not the case. So, and for me, like I said, I had to spend money in order to make money. I did. I hired someone who was a veteran in the industry. They got me into
Mhm.
spaces that I normally could not have gone in because after the Amazon thing, it was a cookbook and a another health and fitness book, and surprisingly, the books so well overseas. That kind of surprised me because I wasn't expecting it to do what it did internationally.
Mhm.
It did good in the States too, but it internationally did. So anyway, it
Mhm.
brought me to a whole nother audience that I was not expecting to obtain. It brought me a more diverse audience, which is good because I want to reach as many people as possible. And because
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
that, I'm not going to say their names either. When I used to do media and host a podcast of my own,
Mm.
they actually took the book. One took it back to Atlanta. She
Publishing.
actually told people about it, which also helped my book sales at the time. Then another one was in Los Angeles and did the same thing. So
Yo, heck
I
yeah.
sent them a huge thank you. I even sent them a freestyle copy and a couple of other gifts. I'm like, thank you so much for that. And when having somebody like them stamp of approval on something, like, something you wrote, that was
Mhm.
kind of flattering. And then from there, one of them connecting to the agent that I have today, who got my next book into Barnes and Noble. So
That's
this is
freaking
why I
dope.
tell
Hell yeah,
this
dude.
this is why I be telling people it's not always you think you cannot do it by yourself. You have to have
Mhm.
some type of connection in the industry because if it had not been for that, my books I'll still be posting books on Amazon. So I don't use
Yeah.
the platform anymore. Like I still have my books on Amazon only because there are some people, it's not a Barnes and Noble store in their city, town, or whatever the case may be. So I keep it up for that reason. Other than that, I would not be using Amazon. And I could tell you all about why I would use that platform, but we gonna get into that. So all my books going forward will all be published in Barnes and Noble. I try to make it clear to people it's not an overnight thing. This was something due
Oh,
to
yeah.
relationships that I've had in the industry over the last decade being in Dallas that helped me get to that point because my books, like my current book right now, is in pre-order at Barnes and Noble. All my books going forward will be sold at Barnes and Noble, which is good because it. Oh my God, I cannot believe this. Like this book, the one that's in Barnes, well, Barnes and Noble in general. Thank you, Barnes and Noble. I gotta shout them out. They have opened me up to a massive. When I was looking at the stuff they were showing me last week, or was it week before last? I cannot believe how many countries, how many people it's reached, and what it's doing. So with that type of track record, it's putting me, on a status similar to Stephen King and all these other people
Thank you.
or whatever. And don't get me wrong, love Stephen King, huge fan of Stephen King. Let's keep it real. We in competition with each other. So, it's kind of what they say, your idols become your rivals. So so the fact that it's doing what it's doing, I just cannot it took my breath away because I'm like, oh my God, I'm really about to be a New York Times bestseller
Let's
author.
make it
So
go.
mm, so it feels good in that sense to do that. And also inspire other writers to do it as well. But when I inspire them, I also want to keep it real with them. I don't want them to think that, you're gonna write this, incredible book and it's going to do all these things, and that's not always the case because even the best
Mhm.
don't always start off as the best. Sometimes,
Exactly.
I mean, you have a few people that get lucky enough to do it, like who was it, like I was saying earlier, Suzanne Collins. This is another thing, she started off self-publishing, then she went from
Like
that.
she's Hunger Games, right?
Right.
Yeah. I'm like
She
she's Hunger
started
Games.
off.
I love Hunger Games.
Yeah, I like her too, and that's what drew her, what she wrote about, because I'm real big on politics. So but her even though her it doesn't address politics directly, but it is political in the sense
But
where
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it talks about a lot of issues that go on in society. And
Mhm.
even though it's fictional, the fictionalized world that she created is something that, when you think about, could potentially happen. The material she wrote about resonated with so many people that, again, like mine, it caught the attention of other people and it started selling in Barnes and Noble. Then this thing, she's getting movies about it. Um, I think I read something where they're thinking about doing like a live television series or something. It's in development or something like that.
Yeah, I
So
heard about that. I wasn't sure if it's true or not, but if it is, interesting.
yeah, it probably work better as a TV show too because she can kind of stretch out a little longer. But then you look at somebody like 50 Shades of Grey. That was another one. That
Yeah.
J.K.
Never read the
Rowling.
book either. I saw the first movie.
Right. Yeah, I think everybody saw the first one because it was interesting to say the least. I think because of that genre. When it came
Yeah.
to like erotica and stuff like that, that wasn't something that was celebrated by the mainstream. It was kind of looked down upon,
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, what is this? This is like borderline porn or something like that.
Yeah.
So since it's more accepted now, it did good. I mean, it made sequels. The book
Yep.
sold good, made the New York Times bestsellers list all over again. Then you had,
My
of
my,
course,
my mom actually, my mother actually saw all three movies, and she said that if you actually watch it and pay attention to the message, it ain't just exotic. It's actually a story in the movies.
right. And then it's true because a lot of people, oh, it's about this. Because like you said, there is a story to it. Because I read
Hmm.
the first one. I didn't read the other ones, but I read the
Hmm.
first one, and there is a story to it. It's just that like everything in society, when you put the sexual aspect on it, people just want to pay
That's the
attention to
only
that
thing they see.
part. Right. That's the only thing they want to pay attention to. I'm like, grown folks, people who got mature mindsets, could see past that part and see there was an actual story to it. That's the reason
Mhm.
what led to the sex. But
Exactly.
stuff like that. J.K. Rowling, who is the the richest author in the world,
Right.
Harry Potter. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how when I was in middle school, that book just took off like a rocket. Like I couldn't believe. By the time I got to college, I remember Barnes and Noble was similar to, you remember how GameStop used to do with new releases? They release them at like
Yeah.
midnight or something like that, or 10 o'clock.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
was like, now, and here's the thing. Now, she's the one author who books I have never read. Like, no shade. I just never read it because I wasn't into the whole Harry Potter, like, trend or whatever you want to call it. I just wasn't
I
into
saw
it.
the movies. I
Yeah, I'm
saw
just
the
yeah, I didn't
movies.
even see the movie. I didn't see the
Yeah, that's
movies. I
fine.
didn't read the books. I just could not get into it. But
Hey, it's not your cup of tea, which is fine. I'm just like,
right.
when you actually watch the movie, that's one of the most purest magic storytelling that you actually seen before.
I'm glad you brought that up too. Now that's not the reason why I didn't watch it, but I'm glad
Uh,
you brought that up because I think people kind of take stuff too far and too just too extra. Because like
Thank you.
obviously, yes, we know it's about a school about witches, and I mean, and even in entertainment and escapism. I grew up in the South in Arkansas,
Mhm.
and I grew up in a Methodist church, and later converted to Baptist. So I'm well aware about witchcraft and the things that's been called like necromancy, voodoo, sorcery. All these different names that witchcraft have. So I'm very well
Exactly.
versed in it and know that from a biblical perspective, it is wrong.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's entertainment. So
Thank-
let's be real. We watch movies where people are killing people. We know that's wrong. We watch movies where people are involved in infidelity. We know that's wrong. We
Yep.
watch movies with so many different types of sin and so many different types of things that are all wrong, but we're
Yep.
entertained by it. And there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with it as long as you're not indulging in it. So
Exactly.
when I saw people making a big fuss about, oh, I don't read it because it's witchcraft, and you got a couple of churches that ban the book, and like you said, when you actually, now I didn't read the books or watch the movies, but from what I saw, they didn't summon no demons or nothing like that. So I'm just
No.
like, I'm being so extra. And then most of the people who always claim to be Christians, they are not Christians.
No.
Keep it real. Oh,
Uh, I can talk about that all freaking day long.
boy, don't get me
To
started.
Jeez.
I know a
That,
lot of bootleg Christians. So,
me too. They're in my family, by the way.
ooh,
That's a, that's that's an
don't
off-camera
get me
therapy
started.
session. So I'm not going to even bring that up.
Right. 'Cause as a matter, I'm gonna bring it up real quick though. A little shit this Sunday. Used to be an aunt of mine who
Mm,
walked around trying to be a minister and definitely did not practice what she preached. And we're just gonna leave it at that. It,
I write horror and fantasy because that's like my strong suit when I started writing. What people call like a gore porn, like the Terrifier and stuff like that. It's like I don't do stuff like that. I actually make sure my story and the action goes together. I was like, and yes, there are times I write about witches, but I don't do witchcraft either. But I studied and see what witchcraft is in real life. I apply it and like try to bring like I guess some type of awareness or something, but also twist it up because make sure it's entertainment. It's not let you know it's not real. Like this is what people think it is. I didn't grow up on reading comics. I didn't start reading comics until 2020, and that's when I found out about Marvel and DC as
wait,
comic books.
so how old are you now?
I'm 26.
Okay. Oh yeah, I got me
Yeah.
feeling.
But yeah, fun. Like I knew like Marvel and DC from like their TV shows and like movies and
Right.
everything. And but when COVID hit, I wanted to like stimulate my brain. I didn't want to like be watching TV all the time. So I was like, I got on TikTok because it was big during that time because everyone
Right.
kept talking about it. Blah blah blah. I was like, you know what? I'll look what the heck this TikTok thing is. Next thing I know, it Marvel and DC is on there. I was like, okay, so I was expecting like a movie trailer or something like that. But no, they were talking about comic books coming out. I was like, what the crap is this comic book you're talking about here? And so I went to their websites for the first time ever. I was like, I see all these thousands of books that I never knew existed. And I was like, have I been in such a deep hole that I did not know this sucker existed? I was like, I said I'm a nerd, but I'm not the nerd I'm supposed to be.
Well, look, okay, yeah, cause see, that's how. Okay, so when people was like, "I get into comic books," I'm like, "Look, y'all, I'm a nerd. Damn." So, but see, I up in a different time period. I got into comic books for a number of reasons, and here's one of them, especially doing it professionally. I came up as a kid in the late '80s, early '90s, so comic books back then were different than what they were now. Back
Mhm,
then, the superhero thing obviously was very popular and the biggest thing at the time, but they were more accessible than they are
mhm.
now in terms of like physically. Like they was at grocery
Oh,
stores, they was at gas stations.
oh snap!
I remember as a kid, my uncle used to buy them because the way I got into comic books was because I'm an artist. So my
Yeah.
uncle would buy me
Oh,
stuff like Batman, X-Men comic books, particularly X-Men because I was real big into X-Men back in the '90s when the cartoon the the first one came out back in like early '90s, '93, '94, something like that.
mhm, mhm.
Um, that I was a huge fan of. He knew it, so he would buy me these comic books, and I would draw Storm, Wolverine, all them out of the comic books.
Heck
And
yeah, dude.
as I got older, my talent grew. I would draw so much at that time, like in '98. I drew it was like an assortment of different Marvel characters like Iron Man, the Silver Surfer, the X-Men, obviously, Spider-Man, all the stuff. So I
Oh
drew
yeah.
all the characters, and then in the back of the comic books, back in those days, they had the address of all the offices from Marvel Enterprises.
Hmm.
So I sent it to I forgot which office I sent it to, but I sent it to the one in New York. Well,
Okay.
that was in 1998. I remember it was like I want to say like spring 1998.
Okay.
Didn't hear nothing. At that time, I'm thinking like, oh, well, they probably like trash. We not gonna do this, just throw it in trash.
Yeah.
Then this thing I know as the years went by in January of 2020, 2001, the artist of Chicago had mailed me a letter. And I remember Daddy went and checked the mailbox and he was looking like, Zamir. He was like, you got a letter from the artist of Chicago. I'm like, why did I get a letter from them? I didn't apply there or nothing like that. So I opened up the letter and I read it. So it was from two recruiters. One of them, which I still communicate with to this day, he the letter it said, we received samples of your artwork. We would like to come to Arkansas and speak with you and your parents about potentially enrolling to start school this fall or potentially sometime in 2002. So by 2004, you have your degree. And I'm like, sound too good to be true. I'm like, something about this ain't right. So I ignored it at first. So then Dad was like, what did the letter say? So I let him read it. And he was like, that's interesting. He was like, so what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. I said, I'll contact him and see. So I did. I sent
Right.
them an emailed them, set up a time. They came down to the house. So it wasn't until they came to the house, I actually found out why, how they got my stuff. So they said,
Yeah.
the people at Marvel sent their information to them and said that we feel this kid has potential. We never met him, but his artwork is very unique. He has a good understanding of the human body, faces, and from what we saw in his package, he's very young, which means he can be developed into a professional. So I was like,
Mhm.
we thought y'all could develop him, get him right, and we could use him as an artist in Marvel. So
Hmm.
I was like, this will work. So when they said that, they told my father at the time, well, Mr. Watson, we feel Zamir has a lot of potential. If we could, we'll take him back to Chicago with us and we'll develop him, make sure he has what he needs. And that way by the time he's 18, he can have a full blown professional career. And at the time, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, I understood what Daddy was saying. He was all for it and he was happy about it, but at the same time, he didn't feel right sending me as a teenager to Chicago with two strangers. And
Yeah.
then of course, I know this is bad to say this, but being a black kid from the South, going up there, to an institution where there was hardly nobody up there that looked like me,
Mhm.
it was he struggled with that because this high school that I went to, which is what my current book, Walking University, is based on, was an all black high school.
Hmm.
So he kind of he kind of was a little hesitant about it. He liked the opportunity, but he's on for comfortable just putting my kid off on somebody else. We can't see him, and nothing like that. So they worked out a deal where if if my dad didn't feel comfortable, they would give me a full pay scholarship when I graduated high school, and then I would go up there. Well, my dumb ass, what I did when it came time to graduation, I'm thinking I got all this time in the world to fill it out, missed the deadline, and didn't get the scholarship. So I was like, oh my
Oh
God, what am I gonna do
man.
now? So at that time, Dad was like, well, you got to figure out something quick because it's already the end of April going into May. What you gonna do? What school you gonna go to?
Right.
So I boiled it down to three universities at that time, and I ended up going to the one that I graduated from. But so that's how that all played out. But I took that experience and I said, despite the fact that I didn't go to the school that I really wanted to go to, I was like, I'll just go wherever I'm going, do what I got to do, learn what I need to learn. Also learn on my own because that's how I'm used to. I mean, being an artist, you are kind of like self taught anyway. So that's how I practice, 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 drew every day. Especially when I got to college. Oh my God, when I got to college, it was like drawing overload. I remember I had one class, I had 2 sketchbooks that had to be filled out every single day, plus the assignments that we were given in class. So I was drawing like crazy. Then
Well, Jesus.
yeah, which that it was a good thing too because if you don't use it, you'll lose it. But it would have been much more intense at the Art Institute of Chicago because like when they gave me a breakdown of what my classes would have been, the only thing I hate about going to a university versus the Art Institute that I did love is that since I wanted to go into the comic book profession, a university isn't equipped with that type of knowledge to show you how to,
Mhm.
properly illustrate a comic book or a children's book or something like that. They're more into like fine arts and graphic design. So
Ah, that makes
yeah.
sense. Okay.
So it didn't really benefit me. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is no shade to the university. They
Mhm.
did help me develop my artistic skills, but not in the way that I needed it or wanted it to be. I feel like the Art Institute
Gotcha.
would have been a much better fit because they train people in animation and comics to pursue those professions.
Ah,
So,
gotcha.
yeah, did what I had to do. Once I graduated, I still drew. And what I had to do was since I didn't have that extra education to show me how to outline a comic book and stuff like that. I just
Mhm.
studied on my own. I researched it, studied it, start practicing on my own, and so yeah. So really, the comic book thing was something I really wanted to do because I'm an artist first above anything else. Well, as a person trained on this stuff, that's what my true passion is because I feel like drawing is a gift from God, and I want to use that gift while I'm here on Earth to, bring joy to people, empower
Mhm.
people, educate people in different ways. And when I say the political part about it, the X-Men, believe it or not, some people like, what you mean by X-Men? How is it political? These are people wearing blue and yellow spandex. It's kind of what you said about 50 Shades of Grey. People paid attention to that part and didn't really pay attention to the fact that the X-Men mythology is actually like it's some serious stuff in that content. Like which is
Even
good.
Stanley himself told you what it's about.
Yeah,
Stanley
which is
himself told you.
yeah, which is bad because it's still kind of relevant in 2026 when you think about it. Because
Yeah.
that's why when they came out with it's not an actual reboot, it's a continuation, X-Men 97.
Mhm.
Let me tell you something.
Love the show. I love the
Man,
show.
I'm talking about since what was it? When it came out in spring 2024, I done sat
Mhm.
and watched that whole season about 50 million times. Like I can't get enough. Because when I tell you it hit different, I
Man.
mean, back in the day, they did kind of touch on a message, but obviously it was aimed at children at the time, so it was only so much they could do.
Right. Yeah.
In 2024, they was like, "Nah, we on a different platform
We
now.
on
We
a
can
we on
for
a different
adults."
timeline now.
They hit all the right notes, and I'm talking about Bo
Oh.
Demaya. When I say writing was undefeated, I was like, "Listen, the lines, the catchphrases, the
Oh.
especially like in the first 2 episodes. The first episode when Cyclops said." Storm give him the forecast. I was like, okay, I'm done. I was like, cause
Was that the first episode?
yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was
I
the
think
first
it
episode because it
yeah.
was that's when they went to the Sahara Desert.
When I started watching it, I was screaming to him like, "Yes, give him, give it to him." I was like, "Yes,
So
give it to him."
I mean, from actually the first 2 episodes were probably out of the 10, the
Mhm.
first two and the finale. Which don't get me wrong, all the episodes were good to me. I loved all of them, but
Yeah.
those two and the finale were probably the best three. Oh, I'm sorry, episode 5. Those 4 episodes were
Yeah.
they solidified the fact that, okay, yeah, it's
Mhm.
back. So,
I think that was actually very strategic how they did it though, because I think they did that on purpose.
oh, yeah. And then the thing that I liked about that particular series is that, from the '90s didn't do a good job at storytelling. They did an excellent job because in the first season, you
Mhm.
gotta add a breakdown of, the mythology
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
myth, and then the second season, it was more like spotlight episodes and stuff like that. But with
Mhm.
this time, with X-Men 97, by doing an overarching narrative, I think is
Mhm.
what made it interesting because there was a cliffhanger on every episode leading into the
Man.
the big. So I think that's what drew people in more because when you look
Yeah.
at it, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? Oh, and then they did it over a span of 10 episodes. I think it kind of kept the audience engaged versus back in the 90s, they had, they had a couple of like what 3 and 4 parters and stuff like that, and then it would break off
Mm,
into another. Well, the first series was more, it was more episodic and
mm,
had a, well, I ain't gonna say overarching narrative, but it was more like this one was
mm.
completely an overarching narrative with a little bit of character spotlight in there from time to time because you had one arc that focused on Jubilee, you had one that focused on Storm, dealing with the loss of powers. Then
Yep,
you had
yep, yep.
one where Gambit, obviously what happened to him. So you had a little bit of that, plus the flow of the narrative still kept going. So
Okay.
Bo did an excellent job of telling that story because while also infusing issues that we all can relate to as as Black people and minorities, and people of all groups who are discriminated against in their story that still we can relate to this day. I mean, it's bad in 2026 that we still talking about this type of stuff that they was talking about way back in the 60s.
Right.
So, so
T-
my bringing all that up was because of the X-Men, there was a comic book that I was going to do called Superhuman Lives Matter. So with this current administration, what's going
Oh boy.
on,
Yeah.
I was inspired to tell a story similar to the X-Men, but in a different way. I was going to actually go a little bit harder in the paint.
Mm,
But after the whole Charlie Kirk situation, my agent was like, Zamir, this might be a good route to go down. He's like, I'm all for it. He said, how you did it was excellent. He said, but I just feel like for your safety, for your family's safety, it might be best to take a different route. But I understood. So I was like,
But your safety comes first, my brother. Your safety comes first, man.
right, you probably right. I might better, change it.
Hmm.
So the idea I come up with now is just as good, or if not even better, in a sense, because it allowed me to have more fun with it, be more inclusive,
Thank you.
and cater to my fan base that's all over the world. So the name of the comic book. Oh, that's another thing too. So when I spoke to people at Barnes and Noble, they
Mm,
told me instead of doing a comic book, since I already have a lot of success with my current book selling in different countries and territories and stuff like that, they said, have you thought about selling as a graphic novel? It was like it will open you up to a wider range of readers like you do
mm.
now. And then they said you can compete directly with Marvel, DC, and the manga industry. I said, I didn't think about
Snap.
that. So I was like, you know
Hell
what?
yeah.
Let's just do that. Because I was like, I would love, no shade. Huge fan of Marvel DC going up, but they've been acting up a little bit lately too. So I was like, you know what? Let me go on and get in business.
Dude, I done vented about Marvel and DC on other podcasts so many times now. And I made this joke. I'm saying I'm in the comic book industry now because I'm tired of these corporations and I want to tell stories that's actually original and creative
Yeah.
and like help people explore their imagination. I said my name might be Kevin, but I'm not Kevin Feige. I'm quality over quantity. That's why I started writing my own stories because I'm like, why the hell am I waiting on somebody to tell the story that I want to see when I can just build it myself? I'm just like, I'm tired of waiting. I'm just gonna do it myself. I'm just like, I'm tired of these reboots. I'm honestly tired of these sequels. Yes, I'm gonna still see them because I like entertainment, but still, come on, we need to bring some originality back. What I mentioned earlier about my novel that about my life, I've actually picked it back up now because now I'm in a better place, like mindset wise, and I can actually express myself. So it's not just so it's actually a mental health poetry book mixed with my life experiences of what I've been through and what led me to how I became the man I am today. But I have my bachelor's degree in professional studies. I have an associate in human services, and I'm working on my master's in business administration.
All right, come on now, talk about get
And
that.
and
Straight.
exactly. And then on top of that, I'm building my own publishing company. I'm building my own retail company. I'm building my own electronic company and my own beverage company. I'm just like, and people like, dude, how old are you? I mean, every time I tell somebody my age, I'm like, they think I'm older because how I carry myself. And I'm sorry, I'm just 26. And I'm like, yes, I know. I'm not doing like
And I
the
was gonna say,
similar
don't
things.
change because you have a lot of kids who are your age who
Hmm.
don't even know what they want to do, have no direction in life, and
Exactly. Yeah.
just going with the flow. And that's not. I mean, you should always have some type of plan, life goals, or
Exactly.
to always better yourself. So keep doing what you're doing.
Oh yeah, and I was like, I was that kid when I was in high school. I was a very nonchalant kid my entire life, and I don't know what the heck I wanted to do, but it was like but after graduating high school, like I went straight into my leadership camp called Bridge Builders, where we learned about how to be leaders and work with a team and like and how you express yourself. And so when I went through like working there, I started developing. I'm saying I don't want to work for nobody else. I actually want to start my own thing. But then the question is how. And so I started in designing apparel first, and then I got like family investment, and they helped me build that, and I continue to build it now. And then ever since, when I started getting real creative, I was like, okay, what other places can I put my hands into now? And so like
Right.
over time, my brain just like started like having so many ideas. Like I have all this energy. I was like, but where can I put it? Like I want to do this, but how? I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18 years old. I have not had a 9 to 5 job since I was 18 years old. And
But and that's good that you like starting off young, having that type of drive and hunger to
mhm,
accomplish so much, and difference is a plus because, like I said, I mean, you got people my age now who still don't have no direction in life and
mhm,
still trying to find out what it is that they're supposed to be doing, and then some of
mhm,
them will never find out because they're not trying to look for it. But
right.
so the fact that you're going to school, getting all the training, education that you need
Mhm,
to do what it is you need and want to do is a
mhm.
plus. And I would encourage anybody who has a similar mindset like yours to continue to do the same thing.
Oh yeah, and as I'm learning in my master's degree, I learned about investing. So I'm actually officially became an investor and a shareholder. And I talked to like an investor one time on my podcast. And like, how do you get into investing? And he actually gave me the breakdown. And I applied what he told me, and now I'm an official shareholder. So he always said, make your money pay you. And so I went and researched it because my brain got curious. And so now I buy stock to let my money pay me. And I feel like the investing needs to be integrated to schools because that's what we need to be taught in high school because people be wasting money, especially as people of color. You see them like going out buying all this bling and this flashy stuff and like wasting money when they can just put their money somewhere else, like actually build a life and not
Right.
trying to like show off. It's cool to have nice stuff, but there is a thing of being over the top. You know what I mean? And I was
Yeah,
like,
the thing about what I do, whether it's in the health industry or literacy,
mm,
isn't money isn't the primary reason why I'm doing it. I mean, don't get me
mm,
wrong. Yeah, I want to live well off of it, but it's not. Well, I'm gonna do this because I want to get $1 million check. That's not why I'm doing it.
mm,
I'm doing it because the things that I do in general, I should say, they bring me joy. It's something I like doing, and anytime when the work that you do doesn't feel like work, that's a bonus. And for me, particularly in the health and wellness industry, I train people all the time for the physical,
mm,
but I also help people with their mental health and spiritual health as well. And
mm.
I practice and preach this to all my clients that being happy is also good for your health. And
Yes,
with that happiness
yes,
comes eliminating all the things that make you unhappy, that could cause depression or any type of mental illness, or just something that threatens your peace.
that
Always,
part, that part, yeah.
always, lead with joy and never let anybody steal your joy by eliminating those things, praying through everything, and always thinking positive. Because I mean, it can get hard sometimes in the world we live in, where paying bills, dealing with day to day expenses, or family issues, friendships, relationships, all this stuff. They can make us feel some type of way. But the good thing is, what you think is what you'll become. So when you think positive,
Mm.
your outcome will be positive. Mm.
I haven't heard that saying since I was a kid. My mom always said that. So thank you for bringing that back up to me because I haven't heard that in years.
Yeah. So
Wow.
So everything I do, I feel like I'm supposed to be. This is my purpose in life, from health and fitness and literacy. And
Mm,
to go back to your point earlier, what you were saying, even with my books, to let your audience know that I was initially going to do the single issue comics every month, and it was,
mm.
and I'm just going to say it now since I'm not doing it now. The book was actually supposed to come out the 4th of July weekend,
Oh
but
wow.
Noble told me that, hey, you can compete directly with Marvel, DC, and the manga industry. And she was like, that'll put you up there with their audiences. And she's like, that can bring you more credibility. She said, when you think about the state of the economy, everything is higher. She's like, so you got to think about it. A single issue comic book nowadays is about $5.99, potentially $7.99, depending on how it was put out there. So
Right.
she's like, think about it. If people are already, counting their expenses and they spending, almost $10 for one single issue versus getting a whole graphic novel or trade paperback that's about $20 to $25, they're going to find more value in getting the trade or the graphic novel versus that buying a single issue book that they have to buy every single month. So she
Right.
said, why
Yeah.
not put in one setting, let them get it, and go from there. I said, yeah,
Yep.
you probably right. 'Cause she brought up the fact that manga, that's another reason why they beating the Western comics in sales because now, well, it's a little bit different. They do have volumes, but they're also
Mhm.
telling one solid story from volume
Yep.
one to whether 24 or 60, and they done.
Mhm.
So, but it has a lot of spin-offs like animated television shows, movies, and stuff like that.
Oh
Whereas
yeah.
Marvel and DC, they're still recycling the same stories over and over and over again. But my point about what I'm gonna say about them, I'm gonna shade them a little bit on this interview. Is
Hey, go
kind of what
ahead.
you said earlier too about that's why I wanted to write my own stories. Because for the longest when I was a kid, I wanted to work for Marvel and DC and all that stuff too. But as you get older, you learn more about how the actual business work.
Yeah.
You see that working for them might not be the best idea. So this is what I wanted to do as my own thing. For example, like the X-Men. Wolverine was always seen as pretty much the only person they really cared about. It seemed like that's who they marketed. I mean, you look at the
Pretty
X-Men
much. Yeah.
films, it was all about Wolverine, Wolverine.
Wolverine.
They did Poe
Yep.
Halley wrong. They wrote her as weak and people was blaming her for it. I'm like, y'all, she's only acting what she's being given. Like she's not writing the film itself. So you can't get mad at her and make it seem like she's portraying. I mean, the portrayal they gave her was weak, yes. What I get irritated about that whole thing is about even if Angela Bassett got the role of Storm, she still would have got the same treatment. So it really would have made a difference because it was all focused on Hugh Jack. Well, not Hugh Jackman, but the Wolverine character.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I wrote a comic book series. It's called Powers Inc. I'm putting it all together now since they want me to do a graphic novel format. What the comic book or the graphic novel series will be about is about a group of individuals. Now, of course, I had to cancel my appearance at Comic Con because since I'm doing something different, I was supposed
Yeah.
to be on in July, which is fine. This will be even better because it gives me an opportunity to take this whole finished product or project to separate cons. So starting in January, I'll go to, various ones throughout the year leading up to San Diego Comic Con. And then in the fall, you have other, conventions that they have or
Mhm.
whatever
Yeah.
throughout the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
And then I was also invited to some overseas, like
Let's
Du-
go.
Dubai has a Comic Con they starting also or has started. So
Oh.
this actually worked out better. So at first I was eager to go to Comic Con because I never been and I always wanted to go.
Right.
But I said this will work out better because at least now, before I actually attend these conventions, people have already bought the book. The name of the comic book is called Powers Inc. It's a reason why we read the book, you'll see why. But it'll touch on the city of Dallas. There's a phenomenon that takes place that grants about 40 to 50% of the Dallas population superhuman abilities. And
Interesting.
unfortunately, I did not write it for kids. I was trying my best, but I'm not good to write for kids. So
Might
it's gonna
start, buddy.
it's gonna be aimed at adults. It'll be more like Invincible and Spawn, if you fans of those.
Ooh, I'm a fan of Spawn. I've never seen Invincible yet, but Spawn, you
What?
got. Yeah, I have not seen Invincible yet.
Yeah, I like Invincible.
I know what Invincible is. I haven't had that time to sit down and actually watch it myself. Like I'm working a lot, so I haven't really catched up on everything yet. So yeah.
Well, yeah, when you get a chance, you'll like it. Once you binge watch it, yeah, it's more like Invincible and Spawn. And what I mean by that is the way I wrote it, I wanted it to feel very real. Like it's still that fantasy, fictional aspect of it, but it's
Mm,
also their realism where they save the world, but they also have jobs. And one thing I did with this comic book that I have not seen with DC and Marvel that irritated the mess out of me. I'm a very inclusive person, and you don't see much representation in Marvel and DC like they could. As big as they
yeah.
are, and the appeal they have to so many different people, so many backgrounds, they always almost cater to that one particular audience that we all know who they cater to. And me being how I am, I'm all about diversity. I feel like this is a shared world with everybody. Everybody has a place
Exactly.
in it. And
Exactly.
when I wrote this comic book, I kept in mind that okay, I want to reflect what I want to see and tell the stories I want to tell, but also reflect the world around me. Dallas is a very
Exactly.
diverse city. There are black people here, there are white people, there are Latino people, there are Middle Eastern people, gay people, people who have disabilities, all that stuff. All of that will be reflected in the book. Now, when I say reflect in the book, I don't make it a point to say, oh, this person is black, this person is Latino, this person gay.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You'll see it. I didn't make it a point that that's what that character stand for. So when you walk down the street, you'll know, oh, okay, this is such and such, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And they'll deal with superhuman threats that threaten the city of Dallas.
Mm.
Is the reason why it's not for kids is because I wanted to portray in a real way where the violence, from a realistic perspective, if somebody was superhuman, what it would do, which ties back to the inspiration from Invincible, the violence, profanity, the sex, and I include all those things in there. Not that that's going to be the focal point of the story, so people don't be like, "Oh, he said it's don't." No, those things are in there, but that's not what the focal point of the story is about.
Like, don't worry, guys. His book is not like the boys
Right?
show. It's not
No,
like that. He actually has storytelling in his stuff, guys. Don't worry.
no, nothing like. Oh, damn. No, not
Oh
like the
yeah,
boy.
I'll throw shade. I don't care. I have no filter. I'll
Yeah,
throw shade. I would have to throw shade.
but no, it's nothing like the boy. Nothing like that. The boys take stuff too far.
It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
I stopped watching after season what 2 or 3.
Shoot, you did more than me. I stopped. I was watching one.
Yeah, season 1 was okay, it was light, but season 2 and 3 just started getting ridiculous. I was like, "Nah, I can't
I
do
think I
this."
watched like 1 or 2 episodes of season 2. Then I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm done.
So, no, it's nothing like that. And I hate tokenism because I hate when people's like with the X-Men, they was, "Oh, they got diversity," like back in the '90s. Storm was the only person of color out of an entire lineup of white superheroes. I'm sorry, Jubilee. So that's 2. They were tokens. You had one
Yeah.
X, one
Yeah.
black. X-Men '97 did a much better job.
Way
Diversity.
better.
Yes, much better. I
Come on.
appreciate that. And I think that's why the show did so good is because they took the time to really understand that the X-Men fan base is very diverse. Because on
Yeah.
in the main team, you do have several white superheroes, but you also have 2 black superheroes. You have a Latino with Roberto, which
Mhm.
technically he's Afro Latino, but Jubilee
Oh,
Asian,
okay.
Forge Native American,
Yep.
Morph, he's part of the LGBTQ. So they did a much better job with diversity this time around they did back in the '90s. With mine, I'm gonna keep it real with everybody. The book is for everybody, but it has a huge lineup of black superheroes. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to see people who look like me. I am so tired of seeing us pushed to the background, to the foreground, under the bus, behind the bus. So we central part of the story.
Sick and tired of seeing people like us in like Hollywood constantly the slavery movies. Like they
Yeah,
always do
yes.
that.
Okay. Glad you brought that up. There's another reason why I did that too, because
Mm,
I'm going to portray black people in this book with the black people I know in real life. They own corporations.
come
They
on.
They're wealthy. They live
Come
good
on.
lives. They're not on
Tell
drugs.
them.
They're not baby daddies. They're not baby mamas. They're married. They
Thank
have.
you.
They take care of their kids. All of that will be portrayed in that comic book. His Mexican superheroes in his book also. Same
Heck
thing.
yeah.
They have
Heck
professional
yeah.
careers. They have families. They they do great things. Immigration is never touched on in the book. They take pride in who they are as Mexicans.
Come on.
They
Heck
speak
yeah.
English in the book because I had translators, helping with my scripts and stuff. So
Got
they
you. Got
do
you.
heroic things, and I feel like at a time like this, when you have themes of building a wall and all that stuff, they need inspiration too at this point. So I have Middle Eastern superheroes because I feel like they will also be in attack, and considering what's going on right now, and then
Oof. Yeah.
I get invited to a lot of Middle Eastern events, so a lot of my friends are Middle Eastern. So
Beautiful.
there are Middle Eastern superheroes that I put in the book as well. The LGBTQ, there are a couple of superheroes from that community as well. I wanted them to also feel like they have a place in the world just like everybody else does without the discrimination factor. People with disabilities. I feel like that's another group of people that don't see much representation of themselves other than
They do not.
in a
They
victim
not.
situation. So I included a handicapped superhero. And then
Nice.
obviously there are white superheroes, but that was done on purpose as well. And I did that because we have so many of them out there in the world. They see themselves reflected in so many ways. So this is no shade, white people. It's just that, we need to give everybody the floor at this point.
Mhm.
So while there are white superheroes in my comic book, I wanted to show the true diversity of Dallas and show that again, everybody has a place in it. And when we all come together and work together the way we're supposed to, it's a beautiful thing when we all can stop a threat together, which is what they do in this upcoming graphic novel. And for the threat, without giving out too many details, the comic book is going to be very Dallas, Texas, which means rattlesnakes
Well, you going deep,
will
Dallas. Heck yeah.
will will be very much a thing. And what I mean by rattlesnakes is uh, anthropomorphic rattlesnakes.
Gotcha.
So, and
Gotcha.
your ordinary snakes, they will be a huge threat, and a threat
Oh,
that will be very interesting. So, so yeah, so I'll start releasing the artwork later this year to let people see the character model sheet, and then obviously post the link to Barnes and Noble for the book, so people or people can go in stores and pre-order or buy it or whatever. So I'm really excited about this. I'm looking forward to it. Now, been these last couple of weeks since they told me this, coming up with something that's innovative that could challenge Marvel and DC and also the manga industry, because you got to realize trying to compete with something like Dragon Ball Z, One Punch Man, and
One
uh,
Piece.
yeah, and Attack on Titan and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna Attack on
Are
Titan. Yep.
these are established, franchises. That's going to be hard to. Not saying that I can't do it, but to try to compete with them on that level of storytelling, yeah, be here soon after my book tour, my current novel, which I'm gonna tell you about in a minute. I'm gonna actually take a break from social media to try to really focus on that because I got to focus on this. At the same time, finish writing the sequel to my follow up novel, A Walk University, plus working on a health and fitness book. So I'm gonna take a break from all social media to really like focus in August.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, so I'm excited about this. I've been drawing up a storm, playing with different ideas, and also with everything that's going on in the world, I just want to give people an escape to remind them of what it feels like to be entertained, like how it was when I grew up in the '90s and the
God.
2000s,
Yeah.
where the
Oh
world
yeah.
was a much simpler place, but we could fall into these different worlds and not care about what's going on in the real world. So I plan to offer people the ultimate entertainment experience through Powers Inc. And it will not be like X-Men, Avengers, or anything like that. This will be something completely different. There's black superheroes, Mexican superheroes, Middle Eastern, Asian, LGBTQ, handicap superheroes who are in interracial relationships, because that is a common thing in our society now that people need to learn to accept.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just, I mean, every facet of life I put in this graphic novel, and I have a huge roster of characters, so it won't be a team of like 5 or 7. It's going to be a team of about 25. And how I did it,
Nice.
you'll see how I did it,
Wow.
because be more like kind of like Young Justice. So you'll see here soon. Like I said, in the fall when I come back on social media, I'll start releasing model sheets. You'll start to get more of an idea what the story is actually about, and things like that. Now, my current novel that's in pre-order on Barnes and Noble, Walker University, is actually based on my high school, Walker High School in Magnolia, Arkansas.
Mm,
It's about the teachers that touched my life and inspired me when I was at the institution.
mm.
Now, it's not based on true events. It's just based on their personalities and who they are as people.
Got you. Got you.
And it's going to be four novels in a series. Obviously, freshman
Mm.
year, sophomore year, junior year, and then the final novel will be senior year.
Nice. Nice. Okay.
It's about a fictional HBCU
Mm,
because I feel like, again, those are under attack as well.
yeah.
I wanted to inspire kids to go to HBCUs to not only understand the history, because when you look at what's going on now, the current administration trying to erase everything about us, from the transatlantic slave trade to the civil rights movement to all the stuff in between that we made progress on. So I wrote a
Yeah,
book
it's
about.
so sad. It's 2026 and we still dealing with this mess. It's so sad.
Well, it just goes to show you that the racism never really went anywhere.
It
It just
didn't.
it just it was hidden, which also makes it hard to really trust again because it makes you wonder, like, okay, so were y'all really for us, or was y'all just pretending to? So, well, and while I do believe that there are some white people who are actually good, I do believe about 95% of them are not.
because
This
like
past decade has showed us that because
yeah, God, yeah,
when people show you who they are the first time, the fact that this man was talking about doing the stuff that he's doing, and you're still going to vote for him, I don't want to hear that. Oh, we shouldn't let politics divide us. Politics is about I want to vote for this person because they're gonna bring gas prices down, or just I don't want to vote for this person that can bring gas prices up. When you're talking about degrading people, talking about women because you don't feel like they're on the same footing as you, or attacking just for racial reasons, but that's not politics. That's morals and character. So
exactly,
I can't, in good faith, ever support anybody like that, and people can take it how they want to when I say this. Somebody like what we got in there right now will never get my support. I cut off friends and family members for that very reason, and I don't feel bad about it because I feel like to support something like that, you're showing me what you really think about humanity. So you cannot, in good faith,
exactly.
go around talking about you a Christian and talking about immigrants and stuff like that when the Bible clearly talks about mistreating foreigners. How are y'all missing that part?
Mention about Christians. These Christians calling him the God chose him. I was like, are you kidding? Like, what? Like
Yes,
you
I mean,
telling me that God chose this man to destroy our country?
like, first of all, whether you want to be political or not, politics is in your life every day. From the health care you receive to your tuition you pay to your taxes on your check, politics play a part in all lives. Now, I'm not saying you got to go out there and be a political analyst,
Yeah,
but you pay
yeah,
attention to
that part.
what's going on. I'm gonna say this too before I get back to the book that it takes about those particular statements. Is that had it not been for us paying attention to politics during the civil rights movement, you would not have the luxury to sit there and say that to this day because you'd still be bounded by chains or told to use this water fountain versus that water fountain. So you better start paying attention to politics or else we're going to be right back there again. Because it's like the old saying
Right.
goes, if you don't correct the mistakes of the past, history will repeat itself.
That part. That part. Nope.
So Walker University is based about a fictional HBCU, and I was very much inspired by, like I said, my high school and also the TV show A Different World because I feel like TV shows like that are still needed
Oh,
because
a different world. I love that show. Heck
mhm,
yeah. I love that
because
show.
like reality TV is so toxic and it's taking over everything. We
Oh,
need
don't
more
remind me.
programs like a different world that television with substance.
Oh, the good
So with
days of substance. Oh God, I miss it.
with diversity, the best way I can describe it is it's a book about family, faith, and a little bit of foolishness. Because I mean, it is about a college, so they do college things. So again, this book is not for kids. I would say about 17 and up they can read it because it does deal with themes of partying, sexual situations. So it
Yeah,
does deal
yeah, yeah.
with, like, realistically what college students deal with. But at the same time, the family and faith part comes with my the teachers who I base it on because they do inspire these students and try to motivate these students and guide them through their collegiate careers going into professional careers. Because I'm happy that it's doing extremely good at Barnes and Noble, and I also have to go to California to pitch it as a TV show to a streaming platform. You know that shall remain nameless. Those who
Let's
follow this book
go. Oh my.
know
Oh yeah.
I'm excited, but I'm nervous about it because it's just a pitch. It's not a guarantee right now. But
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
I go to pitch the idea as a potential TV show. And then the sequel to the book will come out next year. I'm still writing it right now. And actually, the stuff that I just told you about what we're talking about from a political aspect
Yeah,
will
yeah.
be in the sequel. And I couldn't,
Hmm.
in good faith, write about an HBCU if I didn't address those issues that affect the Black community directly.
Right.
So, and then when you look at what's going on, they're trying to do what they can to not fund HBCUs, discredit HBCUs, all because it's just that an HBCU.
Jesus. It's ridiculous, man. Wow. Yeah,
So,
I am excited for that, man. I am excited to read your book, man. Like, you take my money already. I'm ready for it. Like, for real.
well, and that's
Yeah.
the point. That's why I've been working hard on it because I wanted to be, like I said, the ultimate entertainment experience for all my fans and readers because it really means a lot to me when I see like how they review my books and the critics talk about they love the approach that I took, and that is something that is different from other franchises, and particularly with the comic book. Like that's the part that kind of surprised me, and I'm excited about because I'm like I said, I'm an artist first, so the fact that
Mhm.
they wanted me to go back and change the format from being a monthly comic book to a graphic novel. And they said they love the story, but they also like the fact that I was more inclusive by including other races and make it feel more real in the ultimate experience. And then too, because I have a diverse readership, it made sense for me to do that. Like when I go to my book signings, it's so I can't tell you how many people from different walks of life come to these book signings who speak different languages, who come from different countries, different races. So I was like,
Mhm.
I want to create an experience where all my fans can see themselves in my work.
Mhm. Yeah, that's exactly why I got into writing my stories. I started drawing when I was a kid, but learning comics, I was like, I don't want to do the drawing part. I'm better at writing it.
Right.
So, but God blessed me with an amazing artist that brings it out so beautifully that it just mind blows me every time. I'm like, that's better than what's in my head. It's exactly, which is like for me. I was like, I got into this because I love storytelling, I love creating, and I was like, this is not a job for me. I'm building my universe to entertain people and get and like help explore their imagination, like escapism, like to help escape from the crazy world we're in. And I was like, that's literally why I started doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to continue doing it. I was like, like the line from the Deadpool movie, until he's 90.
Well, yeah, yeah, like in the book, the tagline for my Walking University book, I put on there when people see what's possible, they see who they can become. With
Exactly.
the entertainment that I'm putting out, that's what I'm gonna lead with rather than do stuff politically, is to put
Mhm.
out positive, uplifting, empowering images and stories that will influence them to know that despite what's going on in the world, this is who you can become. This is what you can do. This is what we have always done, and we can continue to do, make the future better for everybody. And when I
Exactly.
look at when I was growing up, you had TV shows like A Different World, The Cosby Show, Fresh Prince of Bel Air. All
Yeah.
those shows showed us in a positive light without
Exactly.
focusing so much on the stereotypical stuff that bring us down. That's why I don't like reality TV because I feel like it reinforces the stereotype.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then when you look at the superhero stuff, that's why I like superhero content anyways, because it inspires to be better people. Like whether it's saving the world or, just helping somebody out in general.
Heck yeah.
That's that's why I decided to do it. Now, back then, superheroes were more geared toward children because, you know, those are the times. But now people who read comic books back then, they are my age and older now. So more books are geared more toward an adult audience, which is why the book Powers Inc. is my target audience is adults.
That's smart. That's smart. First, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us, man. But before we hop off, I guess about to do this from a wrestling podcaster where he asks his guests, what's like the top three things you're thankful for? Because I'm all about Thanksgiving and like being grateful for things and not taking anything for granted. So like, what's like your top three things that you're very thankful for?
Hmm. Well, one thing that I'm thankful for, as I stated at the beginning of the interview, is 40 years old on June 21st. And if I'm not thankful for anything else, it's just that life. Because um, I look at so many people who have left this world, some people who are currently in the process of leaving, unfortunately. And I'm thankful that I wake up every day to breathe. My fingers, I can move my fingers, my arms, my legs. My heart is pumping, my brain is working. And so many people don't understand that getting older is a privilege that's denied to many.
Mm,
So the fact that I'm, you know, 4 decades in, still kicking, still 100%, that is what I'm most thankful for. And um, because at the time I used to think that being 40 was old, but now that I'm actually here, I mean, I feel better at 40 than I did in my 20s. And
Come on,
I
man.
felt bad in my
Wow.
20s. Life experience have
Mm.
have helped me, you know, live better. And then when I hear people say, "Oh, you look good for 40 and stuff like that," when you get 20s, you think you like, "Oh, that look good," I'm hot shit. But it hits different at 40 because I feel like it lets me know that I'm living my life right,
Mm.
taking care of myself. I'm not stressed about nothing. I don't look like what I've been through. So
Heck
a-
yeah.
another thing I'm thankful for is my friends. I have the best family and friends on the planet because they keep me grounded. They laughing. They fire and motivate. And surrounding yourself with a good group of people who bring out the best in you is also good for your health, your spiritual well being, and
Yes, that's
and
important. Heck yeah.
and one thing that I'm definitely thankful for, and I don't mean to preach it about out here, is how good God has been to me. Let me tell you, God is good all the time, and all the time,
Yes, he
God is.
is. Yes, he is.
I'm not thankful for anything else in these 40 years in this world or what's going on is my relationship with God. And I hope as I get older that my relationship with him gets closer because, like I said, in reference to my age, the people I come across, the lessons I learned in life, my purpose in life, all of it is because of him and my faith in him. So just to close it out, that
Mm.
no matter where life takes me, whether it's terrible or wondrous, I know that I can do all things through Christ to strengthen me. And with that, I know that what's to come is better than what was already gone. Because of God,
Oh.
I've overcome situations. I cut off people who needed to go. And because of him, I've learned that, shoot, the best is yet to come. So yeah, he's good. Even at times when I'm like, "Oof, I just want to give up, he still motivates me to go to the next level." So
Mhm. Yep. Mine is one God, always, always. Always been taught the latter years is better than your former years. I really admit there were times I struggled with faith, like you wanted to give up, but it's like God kept tugging at me. He said, "Boy, get your tail up, get your tail up. You ready for the fall? I got you." Was like, so yeah, and my second is always family. Family, my sisters, my friends that I got, they keep me grounded, especially my creative team. Like they do stuff that I can't do. I pass off to them. Like they help me keep organized and everything, and make sure I hit my deadlines that I have, and also life. Like I'm breathing, I'm healthy, I'm doing what I love. I'm like that's why I got into the space of podcasting because I love talking to people. I love helping people the best way I can, and I was like God gave me the gift to be an inspiration. And like God is showing me like how to get out my comfort zone. And so that's why I've got into the entertainment industry and God is continuing to push me more and to push me forward. And I am going to go wherever he takes me. I'm not afraid anymore. And I'm not going to allow fear to hold me back anymore. So I've always said like setbacks is just a redirection because God has a bigger plan for you.
uh, when I came to Dallas 10 years ago, a lot of people, well, just in general, they're scared to pursue what they feel like their purpose is in life. But
Mhm.
you have to believe, because if you don't believe, you won't accomplish what you're supposed to. And that's why,
Exactly.
no matter what I do and how I pursue it, my faith always overpowers my fear.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong. In the pursuit of everything, I get frustrated, may drop a
Yeah.
few f
We're still
bombs.
human.
I might say, I ain't doing this mess no more. And then next day I'm up here on to see if I can see. I mean, that's just the common, but
Hmm.
my faith is much stronger than my fear of that. So I don't have to explain that to anybody. I don't have to prove it to anybody because he knows. So
Exactly.
well, I'm here today.
Exactly. And one more thing, where can we follow you to keep up with your projects on social media?
My TikTok, Instagram, Reds, and YouTube channel are all public. So you just type my name in and it'll take you right. And on my YouTube account, I I post a lot of my fitness content from workouts to meal preps to here soon book signings that I'll be doing. Same with Instagram and Threads. I post a lot of links, which if you go to my Threads, you'll see the link to purchase the book. You can go on there as well. So you can follow me on all those platforms. You'll see everything I do. And yep, it's about to get real serious in here.
Yes, sir. And you can follow me at I am Kevin Davis Official on Instagram and I am Kevin Davis CEO on Facebook and TikTok. And Zamir, my brother, thank you so much for coming on, man. And you guys, go follow Zamir because this dude's awesome.
Well, have me on here too because shoot, you talking about me? You the one got the platform on Spotify.
I'm learning as I grow, man. I'm learning as I grow. But you guys watching this, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment what you like about the show and follow. And so we'll catch you guys next time on Kevysie Fate Podcast.
All right. Thank you. See you later.